Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel and welcome to Titleist T350 irons. I've already done the 620 CB, the T100, the T150, the T200, and I was expecting it to be the T250, but unfortunately with Titleist's naming conventions, I'm not entirely understood exactly why they've jumped to a T350. Comment below if you understand why we're jumping certain numbers, but there you go. It is bigger, definitely. I've just done the 200 and this one is effectively the same technology. We've still got tungsten in it, we're definitely hollow bodied, we've got a forged face, etc. But it's bigger, it's slightly stronger, 29 degrees for a 7-iron, where it's a degree and a half or so, a little bit stronger than that of the T200, but everything is bigger. If you imagine the T200, but the T350 is just bigger, no different to the T150, where everything is exactly the same as the T100, but bigger. This is identical. When you're looking at top lines, it is definitely thicker than that of the T200. Sole thickness, it is chrome. I do like a bit of chrome, and it is definitely bigger than that of the T200. Blade lengths, again, are bigger, and the biggest difference that you can really see when you look down by the golf ball on this one is we're now starting to introduce a little bit of offset. Through the 620 CB, the T100, T150, and even the T200, offset is actually pretty nice. So again, offset is one of those things, no different to looks or feel. Do you like it or do you not? And I don't really like looking at a lot of offset, but this one, when it comes to 350, nowhere near as much as the 4. The T400 is a different beast altogether. I'm at the same hole as I'd done the T100 or T200. Definitely not T100. Tungsten, all that work inside. Let's go see how well it does. It is much bigger down by the golf ball, so whatever, when you were looking at the technology inside this to see how well it works compared to that of the T200, we will see. Well, apart from being not middle, I feel it was slightly low. That is pretty darn good. Oh, you would take that all day long. What a shot. Club speed 90 miles an hour, club half, 0.9 from the inside, and faces 0.0, so basically bullet straight. We are looking at 1 mil toe, 6 mil low. There you go. I can feel that it was low, I just had no clue how much low on the face it was. 37.5 yards in the air and 48.5 degrees ascent angle. As you can see, it stopped very well. Feel-wise, it feels very similar to that of the T200. You've got the 620 CB, the players full forging, the T100, T150 feel very similar. You go to a T200, big jump, a complete feel difference going from fairly soft to, oh, okay. This one's exactly the same as the T200. If you're going to be blending T200 with this one, no difference in feel whatsoever. You kind of get the exact same blending of sound all the way through. If you're going to go T200, T150 though, you would have to think, yes, accept in your head, there's going to be a sound difference. This one works very, very well. It is a long way away. It was 6 mil low, so it'll be interesting to see how it works out of the middle. That's 1.39 efficiency. Yeah, this is going a little bit longer, but it is only 1.5 degrees longer, so it'll be interesting to see how it actually works. Oh, that's toey. Again, no understanding exactly whereabouts toe it is, but we are dropping it off. Oh wow, I've just seen it on quad. That is very toey. Club speed 89.7, club path 0.9 from the inside, face is 0. So delivery was really very, very good. 14 millimeters toe. We'll get onto this one in a sec, and 0 mil low. So vertically very good, just very toey. Look at 35 yards in the air, 48 degrees ascent angle, 172 yards. We have lost 9 yards or so, 1.34 efficiency. So that's what happens when you don't hit the middle, we'll say. It's something that I have noticed in the past all through the years of testing all different golf clubs. When I'm testing something big like this, and I've tested the same experiment with amateur golfers, and they do exactly the same thing. It's amazing what happens when you get a golfer that's been playing game improvement irons, big golf clubs, for quite a while, and then you put in their hands something relatively small. Their brain goes, oh, need to concentrate, need to concentrate, need to concentrate, and you actually measure their spray consistency of their strike on the face. They get much, much tighter, much closer to middle when you make the golf clubs smaller. When you make the golf clubs bigger, it's like a little switch goes in your head to say that you can be a bit more lazy, you don't really care because you know it's going to work. And so that's what I've noticed with me as well, that as soon as I go to something bigger, I do get a bit lazier with the strike. That's too lazy, 14mm toe, but this is in the game improvement sector. So going by what they like to say, marketing wise, this is going to be for the golfer that hits it all over the face. Didn't work very well on that one, I must add. Let's go hit a decent shot, shall we, into the green. Well, that was, it just left the face open. Apart from that, really good. I can't complain, right out the screws, it was just, face was slightly open. Is it gonna hit the green? No. Just off the green, no. Club speed, 90.3 miles an hour, club path, 0.3 from the inside. Face is open, there you go. Bye, wave to it as it disappears off to the right. It's 10 yards offline, it's not a bad shot whatsoever. It's 2mm toe, 3mm low. I could feel it was fairly middle, 39 yards in the air, 50 degrees descent angle. There you go, working very, very well. We're going 179 yards back to the 180, 181 that I will be hitting with this golf club. But then I'll also be testing this all over the face. So you can see what happens sometimes when you don't hit the middle. I'll be testing this everywhere to get a heat map understanding exactly how much ball speed is retained when you don't hit the middle and see how penal it actually is in a nice heat map style. We'll do that one after this. But that shot you would take all day long. Let's go for the pin a bit more. I am being stupid, I think. This is going straight for it. Bounce right. Oh, you would take that all day long. That's definitely not chicken out mode. Club speed 90.1 miles an hour, club pass slightly from the inside 1.7, and then a face closing by 0.7. Little baby draw dynamic. Stroke slightly toey. 7mm toe, 0mm high. I didn't really feel that. I'll be honest, I thought that was fairly close to middle, and that's the only problem I would say when you go into something like this. You lose that defined sense of exactly where you were hitting on the face. You get something bigger and it kind of gets a little bit numb. We're going 38 yards in the air though, and 49 degrees descent angle at 181. That's the classic normal that I would expect from this. It's just doing really, really well. I mean, that's stopping properly well. 90 miles an hour. Yes, if you're going to be swinging this at 70 miles an hour, might get a little bit tricky, but not as tricky as the T400. That's 26 degrees, I think it is for a 7-iron. That's proper raw territory. Right, one more, and then we're gonna go give it a heat map. Then we're gonna go hit it 3 different swing speeds and see what it does. Oh, I've towed it again. I can feel I've towed it, I just don't know how much. And we're dropping distance, but we're okay, we're fine. That, with a bit of roll, is perfect. Club speed 92 miles an hour, face and path are really good, 0-0 basically. There's that strike though, that keeps on creeping in. 14mm toe, 1mm high. 14mm toe, yeah, a bit too much. We're going down to 1.34 efficiency. Now carry is 177 yards, which isn't bad though, but then I did swing a little bit faster. If I'd have swung my 90 miles an hour like I had done the previous one or two, it would definitely have not hit the green. 38 yards in the air, 49 degrees descent angle, not bad at all. Right, let's go give this one a hit all over the face. High toe, heel low, all those weird and wonderfuls that we shouldn't hit, but we do. And let's also test it at 3 different swing speeds, 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour. This is firmly going to be marketed towards the golfer that wants to try and maximize their distance, etc. So necessarily the golfers that don't swing at 90 miles an hour, but it could do, definitely. I mean, all golfers of different ranges could actually play this iron. Let's go see how well it does at different golfers' swing speeds. So how well does the Titleist T350 do when you don't hit the middle, when you spray it all over the face? How much ball speed does it retain when you don't hit where you should do? On the screen you can see this information of the heat map data. This is a representation of the face, and when you don't hit the middle, how many percentage of ball speed do you drop off? And of course, as it's a flat-faced iron, ball speed and distance are correlative. So when you have a look on the top there, you've got the plus 22 on the left-hand side, that is the toe. Minus 22 on the right-hand side, that is the heel, with looking at it as though it's face on. You've got high and also low as well. You have that blue line there. That blue line is turf interaction line. And if you hit the golf ball above 5 or 6 millimeters or so from where you should do on the face, you are going to be interacting with the ground first. No one likes hitting a chunk or a fat, whatever you want to call it. And so if you are going to hit 5 or 6 millimeters higher on the face than you should, ground is going to be your biggest problem, not how efficient the golf club is high on the face. of which it isn't anyway. But you can move all the way to around about, say, 20 or so millimeters off of the toe, and you're losing around about 4% of your ball speed, 4% of your distance, which if you compare that to the T200, which I've just done, it is considerably better. The T200 being the player's distance iron, this one is the more of the game improvement iron, bigger iron, has much more tech in it to try and make the outsides of the faces a little bit faster. It does a little bit better than that of the T200. No different is if you go to the heel. If you move over to 20 or so millimeters off the heel, it's getting close to the T200. You're losing just into the 5% now. I mean, we're only literally just into the 5%, but again, that's 5% of your distance. But 20 millimeters or so, guys, that is still a considerable miss from the middle. And yes, we are talking about the game improvement irons, where it is commonplace to assume that the people that do spray it across the face will need a bigger, larger real estate down by the golf ball, a more forgiving iron. That's the kind of marketing that you see, but you do lose around about 5% if you're going to move 20 or so millimeters off the heel. For the overlay, guys, down the bottom left hand side, you see that big red strip. Please don't hit it any more than about 20 millimeters or so, because if you do, you're going to be interacting with the hosel. And because of the curvature, and as soon as you start having more and more offset, actually, as you start having more offset, that hosel becomes more prominent. So if you are going to be hitting any more than 21, 22 millimeters away, you haven't got to worry about how efficient a golf club is, because the ball is going to be shooting off at a kind of weird and wonderful angle. But you can move also low on the face on this one, and it loses around about 4% before you start getting into dangerous top territory. And so you can see the green blob is actually pretty darn good, considering I've just done the T200, where it is a little bit more penal, shall we say. So to the radar chart, this is the part of the video where we have a look at how well the golf club does compared to the average of all of the 80 plus or so irons that I've got on the database. All the information here from the heat maps, also radar charts, and the SelfFit Tool, we'll have a look in a second to do the 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, can be found at my website, www.askgolfnut.com, where my website members can compare this and any of the other of the 80 or so on the list. But you can see there for the radar chart, you can see the toe, heel, low, and forgiveness. That is basically just a measure of the forgiveness as opposed to the average. And of course, so we've got all the rest of the information is the flight data. But you can see the average is in blue and the T300 is in red. So you can see from the toe, it is just slightly better than the average golf club on the list. The heel is fractionally worse than the average. The low is fractionally better than the average. This is basically ball speed retention. And on average, you can see there that it does basically as good as the average golf club on the list. Now, on the average, we have 80 or so, but they range from super game improvement irons all the way down to blades. And so there is a interesting, unique blend on there, but it's about average. Now, you would expect from the marketing, at least, a T350 kind of like iron, being a game improvement iron, that it would score better than the average in retention of ball speed when you don't hit the middle. However, we are talking about that it's basically average. Face speed is a measure of how fast the face is. Loft for loft adjusted, how fast is that face? And its face is basically average. Launch factor and spin rate, this is the interesting part about the design of this golf club. These golf clubs, especially from T150, T200 very much so, and also the T350, does a very, very good job at launching the golf ball. So potentially, even though these are fairly strong lofted, these should do quite well for a slower swing speed golfer, the golfer that wants to try and get that golf ball launching. The launch factor is key on trying to make sure you get that golf ball getting in the air and keeping in the air to carry. And it also has got a fairly decent face spin rate as well. It's one of the very few golf clubs that not only launch high, but also spin pretty well as well. So let's go have a look at the SelfFit Tool. This is how we measure how well it does at 70, 80 and 90 miles an hour. This is also where you can compare up to two golf clubs side by side when it comes to flights. So you can have all your information at the top there. You can see we've got the club head speed already set to 70 miles an hour and the angle attack at already at -2 and shaft lean at -2. Angle attack is how much you come into the golf ball, how much you hit down as such into the golf ball. And that slider is movable. So if you hit slightly more down or you hit slightly more up, more shallow, then you can change the slider to represent your own delivery. And then the shaft lean is effectively de-loft, how much you de-loft your irons. Some people add loft, so you can change those sliders, which will then change the trajectories that you see on the screen and any other ones that you're comparing, 80 or so on the list. But you can see the Titleist 350 there in light blue. So the 7-iron is going 133 yards, 127 yards of average carry, and average carry is basically a measure of what happens when you don't hit the middle, how much normal drop off are you you're going to get from about ½ inch or so miss, and you are talking around at give or take there 6 or so yards, a little bit better than that of the T200. We're going peak height 22 yards in the air and descent angle 41.3. So 41.3 is good, but it is fairly close to 40 degrees, and remember these are centered strikes. If you do miss hit, you are going to be getting a penalty in your distance, in your peak height and your descent angle, so I would just be wary. Absolutely 41 degrees, the 7-iron is the most that I would go to at 70 miles an hour. And you deliver like this. Yes, if you deliver in a way which promotes a little bit more optimal launch, etc., you can change the sliders to do such, but I keep everything at -2 for all the videos for continuity purposes more than anything else. And so you can see it's doing absolutely fine. It is functional at 70 miles an hour with a 7-iron, but it is only just. Just be wary, anything past that and you are going to have to think about going into something like a hybrid. Go to 80 miles an hour and you can see things change a little bit. That same 7-iron is now going 155 yards in the air, 150 or so average carry. You're looking at the peak height going 30 yards, and your descent angle now is at nearly 46 degrees, 45 degrees. So that's going to stop on any green. And of course at 80 miles an hour, keeping delivery the same, just adding some speed. You can go all the way to near on 5-iron before I would think, okay, this is your last iron. If you're going to go to a 4, let's not go to a 4-iron. Let's go into something like a 4 hybrid, where you can try and gain a little bit extra functionality of flight back, because the 4-iron, 27 degrees peak height and 40 degrees, I mean, that's not going to stop on a green with a slight miss hit. That's going to be bounding through for you to go find out what is at the back end of the green. You're going to be finding that out if you're going to be hitting a 4-iron with that kind of descent angle. As soon as you go 90 miles an hour though, that same 7-iron is now going 174 yards, 168 yards average carry, 38 yards in the air and 50 degrees descent angle. It's doing absolutely fine. Now, I normally de-loft a little bit more. I normally hit down a little bit more, so I will hit the golf ball slightly further than what you see here. But then commonly these numbers that you have on there, -2 and -2, again for continuity purposes, this is going to produce a little bit more in the way of trying to get the golf ball launching for peak height, etc. So within reason, you are talking about I would get more distance from this because I de-loft more. It's effectively I'm hitting a 6-iron because I'm de-lofting rather than what the loft we're seeing on here. As a conclusion to the T350 irons, let's go by looks, feel, performance, and then forgiveness. Looks and feel first. Even though it is a game improvement iron, yes, it has got a certain amount of offset, yes, it has got a certain amount of thickness and top lines and soles, and that's the whole idea. This golf club is designed to have a little bit more of confidence inspiring real estate down by the golf ball, and for that it does very, very well. Has got a little bit of chrome on it. I do like a little bit of shiny stuff, and so in that sense I don't mind the look of it. It is a bit big. When it comes to feel though, this one is getting louder. It is not as loud as the T400. It's interesting when you go from a T200 to this, there's not that much difference in sound between the T200 and T350. It's just that there is a massive difference between a 150 and a T200. It shocks your ears a little bit to get used to that transition just in that small jump between one iron and the next iron. But when you're going from the T200 to T350, they sound relatively the same. Of course, this is all subjectivity, is what my opinion is, and if you like that or don't care about it, listen or don't listen, it's up to you. Performance wise, it does really very, very well. This is a fairly strong lofted 7-iron. It's designed to get the golf ball out there. It launches the golf ball fairly well. Does it launch the golf ball really well? Its launch factor is good, but it's not the best out there, but it does do a very good job of getting the golf ball up there, and especially for the 70 miles an hour swing speed, it will give you as much distance as possible and still retain quite a bit of control when you go the other end. Just be wary at what point you need to be changing into, say, your hybrids or high lofted fairways. When it comes to forgiveness, it is a decent iron. Is it something which is miraculous and amazing? No, it is just around average. What it does do better though is its launch factor and its face spin rate. So if you are a golfer that does need to get the golf ball launching and also keep the spin on the golf ball, then the Titleist T350 does a very good job. Hope you liked the video. If you did, go and give it a big old thumbs up, hit that like button. YouTube like, so do I. Down there is a subscribe button. It's free. It's the best button a lot for me, at least, if you could subscribe, so thank you. Next that one is a bell icon. That's a notification bell. If you click that one, you know next time I upload another video. T400 to come. So we'll see you again soon. Have a good day.